Hello everyone, this is part 2 of Paratext Windows arrangement, and in this we will examine some more complex operations for arranging your windows in your Paratext application. So to begin, we go to the three bars in the upper left hand corner, left click, and we are going to select Open. And in order to display certain types of resources, we need to select them uh, as options to be shown in the Paratext application window. So let's begin by selecting projects. Next, and you will see that 3 projects are currently being displayed as possible uh, possible options to display screen. Then we will select resources. Now you see the next following projects, the next set of resources that are available. Select source language text, and you see that we have 3 source language text options as options we can select to be displayed in this Paratext application window. So the last one we will select is consultant notes, and one option shows the global consultant notes. So to be consistent, we will just select for display, we will select the Sekachep back translation, the net 08 resource, and the Hebrew Greek source language text. You can select these by holding down the control key and left click. When you do that, you will notice that the selected object turns blue, is a blue backlighting. So now in the bottom center, you will see the option for the type of window that you would like these options to be displayed in. So for this, to begin, I'm going to select panel and then say OK. So you see that I have 3 vertical columns, and each with a different resource being displayed. In the left column, we have the first resource we selected, which was the back translation. In the middle, we have the resource that we selected, which was a net 08 English translation. And in the right pane, we see the Hebrew Greek resource being displayed. Now notice that the same scripture has been selected. So in other words, these 3 windows are synced. Now, if we wanted to display another window, another pane, but we didn't want it to display all the time, we could go to the 3 bars again, go to Open, and this time we will select Global Consultant Notes, and instead of Panel, we will select Auto Hide, and we'll select OK. And when this panel is in Auto Hide, that means it doesn't display all the time, but you'll notice that you see over here on the right side that there's notes list. And so we can, in the blue bar of this new pane, on the right side where it's blank, you can right click and you can open that as a floating window in which that window can be moved around with your mouse, or you can dock the window, which it docks under the first resource that was selected and splits that column, or you can hide that window, move to auto hide, and when you click the the tab on the far right screen where it says, in this case it says notes, but there'll be some listing so you know what window it is. It will hide that window. So maybe you don't want to see it all the time. You're consumed with this issue. You're researching. You're looking at the back translation, and you're thinking about all the translation, and looking and see if it's a good translation, if it's relating the meaning, if it's culture appropriate, and then you think, well, what do the notes say? Well, you can just click that, and the notes appear, and you say, well, that's their opinion, and then you can click it again, and it disappears. Now, if you had multiple screens, for example, you could, or you just want to have that window floating, you can left click it so it's displayed. Then you can right and you can say dock window. And once you've docked that window, you see, notice how it split the first column in half. You can now right click in the blue, the top blue bar of that pane in a clear space, and you can left click and open that as a floating window. And so you can float that to, put it under the section where you want to review, and see how the notes could, be there for you to compare with maybe the original language text, and you can see, do these notes help me to understand, and maybe you can look at the third note and you say, well, that's interesting. The euphemism for intercourse, not to marry, to touch. It could be a euphemism for to marry. And then you could look at the translation, English, it's not to have sexual relations. So you can think, then you can look at the back translation, which seems to go with a more literal translation. And you can display these windows in this way. If you had an additional screen, you could actually right-click on a window, open as a floating window, and then you could move that to your other screen or somewhere else maybe you want to put it right under the English translation, put the original language text right under the English translation, so you can compare them and see if you believe that is helpful. If you have an arrangement that you're happy with, okay, and so we can again right click in the blue bar. Remember that it's in the blue bar, and in an empty space we can say, I'm going to dock that window, and then I want to add back the notes, as a hidden window. So I'll go back there, look at the global consultant notes, and notice this in the bottom towards the right. It says open as auto hide. So I'm open as auto hide, and you see on the right side we have the notes list, and we can left click anywhere in the blue clear space of that pane, and it will be hidden, and so we won't have that being displayed again. I'm sorry. You're going to click on the notes list in the right, and so now it's hidden. You click again, and it's displayed. It's just like a toggle that goes back and forth. And suppose we like this configuration, so we can save this configuration as a text collection. And so you can save your layouts, give it a name, save current layout. So go in the top pane of the Paratext application, 3 bars, slide your mouse over to layout, go down to save current layout, and you can give it a name such as, marriage advice, whatever text. And so you can save that collection. And now when you open this, you can open a text collection, and you can create a text collection that is conducive to your purposes. So if we want just Greek, and we want a net 08, and we want a project, the back translation, and a resource, or the standard translation, let's say, for the native readers. We can select those and say OK, and now we have that text collection. So we can now go to the upper left-hand corner, the 3 bars, and you want to save this current layout, save this, and you're going to call it marriage advice 2 or something like that. And that way you'll have it whenever you want to discuss with your wife about some paratext training for marriage. There you go. So you have it. You can study those scriptures and hopefully maybe even obey them. Huh. Wow, that's a tough one. But it does remind us, don't deprive each other except by mutual agreement, so that you can devote yourself to prepare then to resume your relationship, so Satan will not tempt you for your lack of self-control. Good advice from Apostle Paul. And that's it for Marriage Training Part 2 of Paratext.